Howdy, folks. For a storyteller, the plot is what happens. The story, that's why it happens. And if you are a storyteller, and keep in mind, everyone is a storyteller, understanding the difference between plot and story is the key to making your audience care. Today, we're going to discuss how to break down the differences between plot and core, the core of your story, and why your story needs a clear and emotional anchor to truly connect with the audience. My name is Ladi Loera. I'm a storytelling teacher and coach in Austin, Texas. I run a storytelling school called the Storyteller Studio, and I love storytelling. So let's talk about it. Okay, so what does it mean when we talk about core versus plot? Well, plot is the external journey, the list of events, the things that happen along the way. The core is the internal journey. It's the emotional truth. It's the reason why any of these things matter in the first place. Think of a zombie apocalypse. Yes, I'm a horror movie fan. I think about zombies all the time. The lead character runs from the zombies. He dodges dangerous humans and he fights to survive. That's the plot. But why does he want to survive? That's the question. Is he searching for his family? Is he clinging to hope? What is the reason? What is the emotional drive? That is the core of his story. Let's look at a few movies to better illustrate this point. In Alien, the plot is simple. A spaceship brings an alien on board, carnage ensues. But the story, the core, is about Ripley. She's not just fighting the creature. She's fighting against the corporate system that decided she is not as important as what the corporation wants. The real monster is maybe the alien, but there's another real monster, and it's the company that devalues Ripley. If we look at Raiders of the Lost Ark, the plot is fighting Nazis, snakes, romance, but the core is about a scientist who finally believes that maybe science doesn't have all the answers. And that's why he closes his eyes at the end when the mystery of the Ark is opened. He learns that not everything can be explained. That's the core of the movie. Or imagine any of the movies where there is a comet heading towards Earth. The plot is going to be chaos and looting and indulgence and destruction and people doing the things they never thought they would be able to do. Well, the core is why one person chooses to survive or not. The emotional reasons that someone decides to experiment and try the things they've never tried before, the things they've always been interested in, but could never find the freedom or the bravery of trying it before. That's the core of this story. Why these people all of a sudden are embracing a freedom that had always been there, but for some reason they always ignored it until now. That emotional reason of why the person is behaving the way they are when an apocalyptic comet is heading our way, that's the reason that's going to make your story resonate with your audience. And by the way, do me a favor, if you're enjoying this video, if it's helping you at all, go down there and find the like button and give it a big old boop. I would really appreciate that. Plot is all the externals. The core is the meaning. Plot is the house, it's the car, it's the monsters, it's the list of scenes that go on and on throughout the movie, but the core is the meaning you carry home. Without a core, a story is just a list of events that have happened, but with a core, it becomes a message, a truth, something that matters and something that your audience will hold on to. The core is always about you, about the storyteller. It's the reason why. It's your reason why. It's how you feel, why this story is important to you, and the meaning that it holds. Now, it's important when you're telling your story that no matter how many different plots, scenes, or devices you have in your story, you only have one core. Here's the rule. A story should only have one single core, one emotional anchor for the whole story. If you try to have more than one, the story becomes diluted. competing emotions confuse the audience, and they don't know what you feel or how they should feel. Because if they don't know what you're feeling, then they don't have an anchor point or an entry point for the story, because the story is all about you. Think of it like a cat. One cat, perfectly manageable. You take it to the vet, you bring it home, you have its favorite foods. At TV time, it sits in your lap and watches television. At bedtime, it climbs in your bed under the covers and sleeps with you. Now imagine you have 25 cats. That is chaos. Who gets fed? Who goes to the vet? Does everyone go to the vet at once? When it's time to sit in front of the television, who's going to get your lap? Are you going to push all the others away? Do they trade off and get different amounts of lap time? When it's time to go to bed, who gets the bed? Is there even any room for you in the bed with all these cats? One cat, perfectly manageable. 25 cats, that is a horror movie. And yes, I like horror movies, but this is not a good horror movie. If you have one cat, you can go about your day like normal. If you have 25 cats, I guarantee this: the entire neighborhood is talking about you when you're not around. Imagine a 5-year-old telling a story from kindergarten. I lost my pencil. I borrowed Mary's. She wanted my cupcake. The teacher scolded us for talking. Todd laughed at us, so I poked Todd in the eye. Well, we can forgive children for telling stories this way. It may not be interesting to anyone, except, of course, the parents. But I'm sure that after several months of these types of stories, they will lose interest as well, even though they're pretending to listen, because that's what a good parent would do. But if you're an adult and you're telling me a story this way, I promise you, I have lost my interest immediately. I don't care what you're talking about. I will tune you out or interrupt you with a bunch of questions. Either seem fair to me. Why are you telling me this? That's going to be my big question. Why do you care? Why do you care about this? Why do you feel that this is important to share with me? Because the list of events are uninteresting until I know why they matter to you. It's just a list of events, just a list of scenes, just plot. But what's missing? The core. As storytellers, our job isn't just to list the scenes. It's to reveal why those scenes matter to us in the first place. That is what's going to make your audience care. So let's recap a bit. The plot is what happens. The core is why it happens. The plot will give you structure, but the core gives your story meaning. A story should have one clear core. That is your emotional through line through the story. Without it, your story is just a list of events. But with it, your story becomes unforgettable. So the next time you're working on a story, after you have finished your first draft and put it down for a couple of days, when you come back and look at it, ask yourself, what is the meaning of this story? Why does this matter to me? Because that's the part of your story that will grab your audience. And here, somewhere, is another video that's to help you with your storytelling. It's about the present tense and how to tell your story so that it feels like the audience is living in that moment with you. For now, that's all. Adios, folks.